it going, everybody? I'm here to bring another video, and it's about time after all the controversy has picked up, gone crazy with Star Wars. Now we have multiple things to talk about today with Star Wars. I'm going to go over Star Wars Outlaws and also Star Wars The Acolyte, both owned by Disney. Unfortunate, but definitely something I wanted to take note of from Star Wars Outlaws was mainly the way they've kind of portrayed their main protagonist. So, give me a hot second. There's a video that covers this in depth very well, or even so more, just looking it up. But we already got it, so all set. First thing I think we should take a look at is the backlash that I continued with last time about the Acolyte, where you had some people that were very much upset, blaming toxic fandom and other things like that, right? But then again, you have to think about this, right? This was a unique show, brand new, did all the things that it could differently, and it was hated because it was bad writing, right? You had The Mandalorian making something, a whole new premise, right? That had nothing to do with Jedis, had nothing to do with pre-existing characters, right? Brand new everything. It was even taking place before the sequel trilogy. So when you had Grogu show up and the main Mandalorian that we were following, Pedro Pascal, it worked, right? Until season 3, when they were just like, you know what, let's not have Pedro Pascal be the main Mandalorian. Let's have this other chick be the main Mandalorian. It's just like, why shift focus when you already had a good character going? You had good character chemistry, dynamics, and other things like that. Why ruin that all to shift focus on someone else that wasn't in the show until the last episode of your second season finale? Like, the fuck is that? Then you have the Acolyte coming out basically being just a piece of shit because the way that they portrayed it, right? Leslie Headland saying, I'm going to put my queer realities into this. I'm going to make a show that caters to my type of taste in movies and entertainment. Gonna finally have some representation, not really caring about the lore. Yes, she did kind of slightly speak on it, saying that, like, as someone who does care about the lore and how bad it was back then, even with George, this is why this and that happened, right? It's just like, stop trying to save face, because yeah, there was a lot to criticize with George, but it was his creation. So whenever something happened and changed, well, guess what? It was made by the creator. You are not the creator of Star Wars, and all that Disney has done is ruin Star Wars, at least as far as many people are concerned, right? And if we take a look here at Eric Voss, which I do have the dislike plug in here, you can see what he's standing at right now. Now, this is a rough estimation, but he's sitting at 99.9k upvotes, so just under 10k, and he's sitting at 14k downvotes, obviously ratioed by the horrible take. So let's listen to this, and then we will have our opinion. So,
welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Star Wars The Acolyte was not renewed for a second season, according to Deadline and IO9, who confirmed directly from Lucafilm that the show was indeed canceled. The deeper story behind The Acolyte is a fascinating and very frustrating journey that I got a personal behind-the-scenes look at through interviews with the creator and lots of other annoying things that I've had to live through as a Star Wars fan on the internet in the year 2024. There are a lot of emotions and misinformation about The Acolyte, but
there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of things that are misinformed, like what you're saying. And again, this is from your own comment section, so can't really say take this with a grain of salt because it's actually pretty accurate. But let's take a listen to what some of your own fans or people that watch your channel have to say. The fans were told, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Well, they decided not to watch it. Case closed. You just admitted to being access media, and once they deem your content to be not fair, you will lose your exclusive access, paid vacations, gift bags, and we did F off. Which is why the Acolyte got canceled in the first place from no viewers. And again, just because you have a criticism for the show doesn't mean you're an automatic bigot, a troll, a sexist, whatever the fuck. Like, you should be able to, or you're not even a toxic fan. Like, you should be able to have the ability to give constructive criticism, or even just criticism in general, without it being labeled as toxic fandom, toxic whatever that, you know, they're making, and it's just not acceptable. It's like, that's not how that works. Crazy how you label anyone who hates Star Wars as a troll. Pretending a certain agenda isn't being pushed by Disney is wild. You got free stuff and a trip from Disney. They may not be cash compensation, but it's compensation nonetheless. Everyone knows that the moment you get behind the scenes access to Disney, it's because you agreed to never say anything bad about them. Funny how that goes, huh? Let's take a listen continually.
The truth must be told. Did Disney and Lucasfilm cancel The Acolyte to give in to the toxic haters? Did the show deserve to be canceled? Were we deprived of a second season that would have saved Star Wars? No, and not sure. But
were we deprived of a second season that would have saved Star Wars? He fucking says maybe, as if somehow The Acolyte Season 2 would have saved Star Wars, bringing it back into the zeitgeist of the general public, right? Back into the same type of fandom that it was in back in the 70s, back in the early 2000s, when everybody was going crazy for Star Wars. Yeah, definitely the second season of The Acolyte would have gotten everybody hooping, hollering for a fucking Star Wars character like, well, you know, Darth Plagueis. Of course, some more Yoda merch that they had tried to tie in with the fucking thing at the end. Let's not forget May and Asha. Who else do we have? We have Kamir. You have Basil. Basil is a very profitable plush, I'm sure. Yes, those things could have definitely saved Star Wars because they're merchandise. I don't know. Like, no, the fuck, they're shallow. They don't have no fucking substance to them. Each of the characters that they had fucking propped up were goddamn crap because of the way that they wrote the story in general. And then as we take a listen continuously to what this guy has to say, he doesn't really address any main issues that a lot of what Star Wars fans had issues with, like Star Wars theory, right? He's just, oh no, it's all the toxic fans, it's the trolls. They just can't accept that Star Wars is good and this is not, whatever, you know, like, just delusional.
let's break down the real story of The Acolyte, a post-mortem, so to speak, to investigate what truly caused the death of this series. In a nutshell, The Acolyte was a promising but flawed series that did not deserve the hate it received, nor the unbridled praise. And it was canceled not because of the discourse around it, or even for the perceived quality of the series, but because of low viewership, high cost, and because the marketing did not effectively convince Star Wars viewers that it was an essential Star Wars viewing experience. So let's rewind the clock to late 2019. Leslie Headland, who had just finished her work creating and writing Netflix's Russian Doll, was brought into Lucasfilm to pitch to Kathleen Kennedy, as were several writers at the time, for ideas for future Star Wars projects. This was right after the successful launch of The Mandalorian on the very new Disney Plus streaming platform, and new shows for Disney Plus was a major initiative for then incoming Disney CEO Bob Chapek, as the studio was investing heavily in original streaming programming.
Again, stop trying to put the thing as if Bob Chapek was even remotely in charge, because at this point it was still Bob Iger at the helm, and Bob Chapek was basically just a fall guy, as you saw with COVID and everything else when all that stuff started happening and Disney started losing stock price. Well, what happened? Everybody started targeting Bob Chapek. The dude got harassed off of social media for a little bit, and guess what? He was replaced back with Bob Iger. Bob Chapek ended up being able to get a good amount of money to be silenced, and also being removed from being CEO. But yes, it was all his fault that all this stuff happened. Yes, he had a small hand to play in some of this stuff that was going on, mostly with the parks. That was his main role and issue, was the parks. That's why he's called in the park sphere Bob Chapek. Basically, he's cheap with the fucking cost that he would do. He wouldn't be taking care of maintenance. He wouldn't be revamping rides. He wouldn't be taking care of the cleanliness of certain rides that should be upkept, right? So that's why he was known as very much a cheapskate, right? But the stuff that happened, the acquisition and the contracts that got all these shows rolling was Bob Iger, right? He was the one that had the acquisitions signed way before all this started going on with Disney Plus. And then now we're moving on to what happened with the Acolyte, where you don't have him actually acknowledging that, hey, she was basically, again, Amanda Stenberg didn't have to audition for her role as Asha or May, right? She was gifted this role. She was given to it on a silver platter by Leslie Headland. And a lot of the other people that had to do, auditions or whatever, right? At least they had to try. But the fact that Amanda didn't have to try at all and was just given this role, and the performance was as bad as it was evident enough that, like, hey, maybe you should have auditioned, right? Maybe you should have had the person emote a little bit more and give more expression instead of just having the same expression the entire 8 episodes. The other thing that takes into place with this is how you will hear soon enough that he's gonna try and pass the blame on from... Well, just, fuck it, let's just listen.
Headland, a lifelong Star Wars fan who grew up with EU books and games and loving the prequel trilogy, was drawn to the character of Asajj Ventress from the Clone Wars series and pitched a live-action Asajj spin-off exploring her as a Night Sister and a disciple of Count Dooku. Headland's pitch of an Asajj spin-off was something Headland revealed to me and to other press in a roundtable interview back in May. Lucasfilm, at that point, already had ideas for a live-action Ahsoka spin-off that would be backdoor piloted in the 2nd season of The Mandalorian, but Lucasfilm at this time was also developing its High Republic era of stories, and Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland's conversations shifted into a different version of the story that would be set during the High Republic. Part of Headland's revised pitch centered around the concept of twins, which Kathleen Kennedy liked as she has a twin sister. But
again, a retcon that a lot of people did not like was the High Republic. The Old Republic, yes, a very beloved extended universe segment of Star Wars, but as far as many existing Star Wars fans, the High Republic is not seen in the best light, right? Possibly because of the bad storytelling, bad writing, bad characterizations. You don't have the same level of care and depth that you had from the extended universe. Mara Jade, even characters like Starkiller, other things like that, that had much more depth put into them, more love. You don't have that with these characters, right? So when you have these people pitching ideas from a segment of the universe that is already unliked, wasn't even selling well as far as comics are concerned, it just makes you question why are you pushing certain things that are not very popular, right? And how are you able to spend so much money on things that are not making money? It's just a bit odd because you keep doing this where a bunch of your projects lose money, cost a bunch of money, and yet you still keep pushing forward as if, everybody loved it. When you see comments, you see reviews, you see just multiple videos or whatever elaborating on the fact that, hey, this thing did not meet up to my expectations. So why are we getting another season? Why are we getting another movie in the entry of this same fucking dog shit, right? It just doesn't make fucking sense. So let's speed up a little bit on some more shit he has to talk about. This is a lot. This bad boy fucking goes over. Yeah, like right here.
Against any other critic or journalist or influencer who says anything positive about new Star Wars titles, and accusing those critics, journalists, and influencers of being what they call Disney shills that are paid by the studio to give positive reviews. Now, to be clear, as someone on this side of the industry, I can tell you that Disney does not pay for reviews. That is a myth, but what they do is they give access to influencers and journalists to see behind the scenes looks and early press screenings that they don't give to everyone, and people have accused that access of being a form of payment or influence, when in reality, Disney has always made it clear, we don't really care if you give negative reviews of our stuff, we just don't want you to engage in toxic bullying. So in March 2024, when the trailer for The Acolyte released to the public, the typical discourse arose. Dragged into this discourse was the fact that Leslie Headland is a lesbian who cast her wife Rebecca Henderson as Vernestra Rowe. Accounts hostile to Headland discovered that she used to work as an assistant at the Weinstein Company and began to spread all kinds of disgusting misinformation trying to connect Headland to Harvey Weinstein's crimes. These accounts, of course, have never spoken a word about Weinstein himself, and they always fail to mention that in 2008, Leslie Headland wrote...
No, sir. Let's take a deep dive. All right, so we got to hear what we're going to fucking go over with the fucking Leslie Headland stuff. So, as I was saying, the article is based on the uncorroborated claims of a source. The article does not allege criminal knowledge, nor participate on the part of Leslie Headland, nor does the article allege in any way criminal knowledge, nor participate in any part of the Walt Disney Company. But what they are trying to say, the former executive assistant for a top-tier level Hollywood studio executive alleged that the showrunner of Lucasfilm, the Acolyte, Leslie Headland, was given the job in order to stay silent on Harvey Weinstein. We are keeping the individual identity private for their protection. This former assistant informed the Park Place that Headland was certainly paid off in cash big time to keep her trap shut, even with permission to do the play. The assistant added the job with Disney was also part of the payoff. According to the source, Disney also bought in Headland to keep its secret, knowing that she kept Weinstein's secret for 4 years. That Park Place can't verify the veracity of these claims for now. They're strictly uncorroborated statements made by the Hollywood's insider. Going beyond the statements, the source also provided further clarification on the way of the Hollywood works with secret keeps. They know they have beans to spill and have to keep their that trustworthy. If you reciprocate with perks, pay, promotion factor in every hire, and somebody who is proven to have that is a real fine for them, even what we have to assume is a pretty strict NDA upon signing up. Again, just multiple things like that, right? Then you have here a note which even states important message. The note read, she had on the phone Mr. Harvey Weinstein, and again, she had on the phone Mr. Harvey Weinstein. It says there, detailing that Harvey Weinstein communicated with Jeffrey Epstein in 2005. As reported by The Sun, lawyer Bradley Edwards detailed in his book that Epstein and Weinstein were quite close until a falling out occurring after Weinstein attempted to make a move on one of his favorite girls. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking sick. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of that fucking thing, right? But, yeah, you also have a little bit of other people on fucking, of course, Reddit arguing, well, I can't really find any proof that she was only there for only a year, right? But then obviously other people are like, no, there was definitely stuff saying that she was there for more than 4 years. But this is part of that whole thing where they start scrubbing the archives and deleting stuff, saying like, she wasn't working here for 4 years. It was only a year. It's just like, that's kind of convenient, but you have to really start digging for some of this information. Otherwise, it's just hard to believe otherwise that, when you just say something, you need to have some kind of source to back it up, obviously. Yeah, it's just fucking wild. So again, going from that, and then let's go on to some other shit that just kind of continues from this fucking thing. 60,000 people have signed the petition to renew the Acolyte, which I don't think will happen because, again, money laundering scheme, whatever. The amount of money they spent on this fucking show and the amount of money they lost because of this show is astronomical. Can't deny that. Let's take a listen to what Amanda Listenberg had to say.
There's been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced, when it was still just a concept, when no one had even seen it.
Up to that, I disagree. I was one of the first people on YouTube, actually, years and years ago, when there was talks of a show called The Acolyte, or a show about a Acolyte of a Sith that was coming out, and I was like unbelievably excited.
Bigotry, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language.
100% there are racist people out there. Everything she just named, those people are out there. They exist in my YouTube comments, in other people's YouTube comments, other people's social media. We've all seen it. But to say that that's the majority, I mean, nobody had a problem with Samuel Jackson as Mace Windu back when I would say this was even more prevalent. Everyone wanted John Boyega to succeed, right? I don't got an issue with you. You just play a cool character. It's really not her fault. It's the fault of the writers. It's the fault of Leslie Headland for not having a single vision or creative idea.
Vitriol that we received and kind of the targeted attack I would say we received by the alt-right.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was targeted because it was a garbage show that people didn't like, that Star Wars nerds didn't like. In fact, I would say that we really brought the numbers up just by watching it because we wanted to see how ridiculous this could get.
And being able to be a part of the legacy of something means so much to me, and I've looked up to for so long.
And if that's the case, then you would understand where we're coming from.
Yep. That's definitely a good sentiment, but a lot of people just will not take that. Same old shit, blame the fans. It can't possibly be anything else because it was perfect TV, right? Amanda Stenberg, the Acolyte, being canceled was not a big shock to her after a rampage of vitriol from toxic Star Wars fans. Like I said, and again, here's the longer portion. I'm not going to really play the whole fucking 8 minutes. We've already gone on long enough with this segment, but continuing on to the next fucking thing I want to talk about from the Acolyte, or sorry, from Star Wars in general, was, well, Star Wars Outlaw. So let's not close that out, but let's go to this right here. Star Wars Outlaws subreddit reportedly bans users for criticizing Ubisoft's game. And again, people that got early access paid $120, $110, something like that, for this 3-day early access. Well, guess what? There's a game-breaking bug that now, if you want to progress, you have to delete your save. So no matter how far you've gone through, you have to delete that save and start over. Then you'll be able to finish the game, right? So it's just like, what was the point of early access if the game's not going to be complete, and if my, progress will just be all for naught? The game's not fucking done. A game-breaking glitch that you did not account for affects everybody, right? It's just one of the many things that are wrong with Star Wars Outlaw. And then also you have the fact that they completely destroyed the way that the character looked, right? Let's just take a look here at Grum's real quick. You charge people $130 for 3-day early access, then you wipe their progress with a day 1 patch. Nice move, Star Wars Outlaw. Yeah, that's the crazy part, is this fucking thing right here. When you see the price range, right? $130 if you get the Ultimate Edition. Both, obviously, if you get the Gold Edition or the Ultimate Edition, either way you're getting 3 days early access. But both these people are getting a fucked up deal, because either way you have to fucking restart because of the day 1 patch. So no matter how far you got, no matter where you were at, you were gonna have to reset. And that's just garbage. You should never have that have to happen. Then you have some other stuff. Ubisoft, dear Ubisoft, why do you hate beautiful women so much? Star Wars Outlaws could have been a hit if you just let women be women. And again, they're just, throwing off how the main mocap chick basically does not look anything like the way that they have portrayed her in the game. And many people are like, well, here you go, fix it, right? And they're able to make the person so much more attractive than what they delivered on, which is just boggling on why they seem to continuously make female characters in video games ugly. They say it's to combat the male gaze, but there are also women that very much like to look at attractive characters. Yeah, you're just trying to have like appeal. Yeah, you should just be trying to make something that's appealing, like, for everybody, whether it be man or female. But for some reason, they're just like, oh, we can't have anything look attractive because then men will look. I mean, the unattractive women.
Me?
No, not you. I'm saying the
Me?
You're attractive. You're attractive to me. You're crazy.
That's not what I'm looking for.
That's what I. Anyways, yeah, like it's just crazy. Like, well, yeah, look at the way the people look, and it's crazy that they made them look like that. Yeah. She's all drugged up and shit. Yeah, these people have a fascination with making the women fucking ugly. Yes, they have I lost my fucking train of thought. God damn it. Anyways, let's take a look at just some fucking gameplay. How about that? So riveting. This is how good the AI is. She's right there, guys. She's right there, guys. Come on. You got her. You got her. Just shoot her. I know, he's just fucking twitching his fucking finger. Bro, are you gonna... Oh, look, now you killed her. Oh, now they see her. Jesus Christ. Yep. This is what you get from a AAA game studio. Top tier quality, guys. AI is working great. Mechanics working as they should. The level design, you know. Yeah, all this fucking shit that Star Wars did, and they just keep fucking up, and they just can't stop themselves, which it shouldn't be that hard. Look, here's some more clips of people fucking. Yep, physics ain't there. Oh, you can't swim, you tell me? From a AAA game. Look. You just die. You just die. Wow. Yeah, it's just like... Oh, that's upsetting. And again, they have to have the Han Solo outfit. But you're a female Han Solo. Decent. Oh my god, what is this? Babe, look. Look at this stealth kill. Oh, they didn't even... They're still alive! Oh my fucking god. Oh no. Yeah, I think the game is doing phenomenal. What the fuck is this goddamn cult shit? Is that what that is? Oh, it's for the Division. Oh, so these are the people that made. Also, yeah, this is the Ubisoft people that made it. Renouncing all forms of oppression. I'm not reading that shit. That's too fucking long. Not having to do other people's emotional labor. For me, equality is providing cerebral opportunities for women where they can mother, where they I can't read.
Where they can be mothers
and no questions about how they. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Not everyone is looking at it. Not everyone's like.
Yeah.
So she's basically saying that people undermine mothers.
Okay, well definitely these two fucking sound retarded though, but yeah, take her out of it, but these two definitely don't make sense when it's just like a simple thing like that. Yeah, this is a crazy ride that's just going on. Well, yeah, Star Wars in a very odd place after all this time. Let's see, what else are we missing? Yeah, Leslie Headland, she's a bit cuckoo, and the reason the show got canceled was, well, just it was a badly written fucking story. The stuff here with Star Wars Outlaw, on the other hand, is bad because, well, one, it was a scrapped game that was going to be just a bounty hunter game, then turned into what it is now, and then just mixing it with obviously the whole Han Solo-esque type of gameplay, right? But it's whatever. It's damage done. Let me know though how y'all feel about this Star Wars video. Definitely a longer one than it usually is, but we had a lot to say and so much has happened in the past week. I just couldn't get to it. earlier because of work and other stuff. I was just too tired. Now being Friday, I had enough time. So, with that being said, let me know down in your comments below what y'all thought, what your criticisms, critiques, or praise are of Star Wars. And then also just, fondest memories maybe of when you first fell in love with Star Wars and then where it died, right? Other than that, it's Shinigami signing out. Y'all have a good morning, good evening, and good night. I will see y'all in the next one. Adios.